Hi all, in this video we will discuss about arrays in Java. So an array is nothing but an indexed collection of fixed number of homogeneous data elements. And here the advantage is that we can represent huge number of values using a single variable. However, all these values must be of same data type, that is homogeneous. Now the main disadvantage of array is that it is fixed in size. So once we create an array, there is no chance of increasing or decreasing the size based upon our requirement. Hence, to use the concept of array, we must know the size in advance, which is not always possible. So here I am creating a new class, say test array.java, and this is our class test array. Now inside this I am creating the main method. Now first let's see how to declare an array. So for example, I am declaring an array of type integer, int a. So this is just array declaration, that is, till now we have not created the array. This is simply a variable of type integer array. So a is simply a reference variable which points to an array of type integer. Now at the time of declaration we cannot specify the size, and the size must be specified at the time of array creation, which we will do now in next step. So to create an array we use the new operator. So a is equal to new. For example, I want to create an array of size 3, so new int 3. Now the point to note here is that we are using the new operator, and the new operator is used for creating objects, and this is true as every array in Java is an object, and we can get the exact class name as well using the getClass method. So I can simply write here, for example, I want to print the class name of this array, so I can use system.out.println, and I can write a.getClass. So let me just save this and compile this program, javac test array.java. So the program is compiled and this is the class file is generated, and now we can run this java test array, and you can see that it's printing the name of the class, which is square bracket and I. So for integer array, for the array of type int, this is the class used, and similarly we have such classes for different types of arrays such as char, byte, short, and so on. But these classes are part of Java language only, and these are not available for us, that is at the programmer level. So here we have created an array of size 3, and now we can store only 3 different values of type int in this, and these 3 different values are stored at location A0, A1 and A2. So if I want to access the first int type, so I can write A0 to access the second A1, and the third is A2. So the indexing starts from 0 to n-1, where n is the size of our array. Okay, so now the next step is to initialize the array. So when we create an array, it gets initialized with default values, and the default value for int data type is 0. So if we try to print first element of this array A, we will get 0. Let's see this. system.out.println, and I'm printing A0, which is the first element of this array. So let's save this and compile this again and run the program. So you can see that the values 0 is printed here. Now instead of A0, what if we just try to print the value of A? So instead of A0, if I just write A, what will happen in this case? Now we know that A is simply a reference variable which points to an object of int array, which is an object of this type. So A is reference variable which points to an object of this class. So, and whenever we try to print any reference variable, internally toString method is called, which is implemented by default, and the toString method simply returns a string, and the string is in the form of class name @ and hash code value in hexadecimal format. So for now you can think of hash code as an integer representation of an object. So no matter what the data is there in an object, its hash code value would be a 32-bit integer. So now if I recompile and run this program, so you can see this is the class name @ symbol, and this is hash code value of the array object. So we have seen that arrays are initialized with their default values, and we can override these values. So for example, if I want to store some random integer values in this array, so I can simply write A0 is equal to 5, A1 is equal to 10, A2 is equal to 3, and again I can simply print this A0, A1 and A2. Let's save and compile this. And 5, 10 and 3 are printed here. Now overall there are 3 steps. First is array declaration, next is array creation, and finally these are array initialization. So we can perform all these 3 steps in single line of code as well. So let me create here another array, int array b, and I can write like this 20, 30, 40. So all the 3 steps are performed in this single line. This is array declaration and this is array creation with these values, and now we can simply print its values. So here I can write, instead of A I can write B1, B0, B1 and B2. So let's save and compile this. And these are the values of array B. And similarly we can create an array of type char as well. So char C is equal to A I. So these are simply characters, and C0, C1 and C2. Let's run this, and AIE. So this is all about one-dimensional arrays, and we can create multi-dimensional arrays as well in Java. So let's create a 2-dimensional array. So here int, so this is the way to create multi-dimensional array. So if I am creating a 2-dimensional array, I will use 2 brackets, and if we want to create 3, then we can use 3 brackets. So I'm creating a 2-dimensional array, and let's give it a name A2D. This is name of this variable, and then the next step is to define it. So A2D is equal to new int array of size 2. So 2-dimensional arrays are, you can think of like this. So this is an array of array, so we can think of like this. So this is the main array, and in this array each element is again another array. So we can think of like this. This is one array, this is the outer array, and in this array each element is another array. So this is the concept of 2-dimensional array. So if it is a 3-dimensional array, then inside this again each element is a new array. So here we are creating a new array of type integer, and which is of size 2. So there are 2 elements in this array A2D, and in this array each element is another array. So the next step is to create those arrays. So this line simply defines that this is one array of name A2D, and each element here is another array, and the size of this main array is 2. In next step we will create another array. So A2D 0 is equal to new int of size 2, and A2D 1 is equal to new int size 3. So now the first element, which is an array, is of size 2 of type int. So we can have values 10, 20 in this, and the second can contain 3 elements, so it can have 30, 40 and 50. So this is the concept of 2D array. So now the next step is, so in this line we have created the array, and now the next step is to initialize it. So we can write A2D 0, 0. This means the first element of the first array. So if I write this as 2, and let's try to print its value, A2D 0, 0. Let's save and run this program. So the values 2 is printed. So we can create n-dimensional arrays using these brackets. Now, as we saw earlier that in one-dimensional array that we can perform all the 3 steps in one single line of code, we can do the same thing in 2-dimensional array as well. So let me create another array, int 2-dimensional array, and let me name this A2D1 and is equal to, so this is our array, and in this each element is another array. So this is how we can create a 2-dimensional array in one line. So let me give some integer values, 10, 20, again 100, 200. So each element is an array of size 2. So this is how to create this 2-dimensional array in one single line. So let me again print its value, A2D1, and let's print the second element of this array. So A01. Save and compile this program. So, and the value is 20. So this 0 corresponds to the first element of this array, which is this one, and this one corresponds to the second element of this array, so which is 20. So that's all about multidimensional arrays. Now suppose we have created an array and we want to find the length of that array. So for this we can use length property of an array. So here we have array B, and let's see how to find the length of this array. So for this we can simply print its value, system.out.println, and then the name of this array is B, so B dot length. So that's it. This will simply print 3 because the length of this array is 3. Let's see this, and the value is 3. Now this length is internally is a final variable, and this is because this is the reason why we cannot change size of an array once we have defined it, because this length variable is of type final. So final means we cannot modify the value of that variable later once it is initialized. So that's all about arrays. Thank you.